Yeah, Dr. Marzuki, so sorry for the last session. I totally forgot, on the 16th of September, that day. I totally forgot. Then only the next day, there is a session kind of thing yesterday. Because that day, I have something in mind, something, but I forgot what is the thing kind of thing. Just the next day, okay, I missed the session. Luckily, you have the recording there.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's that is the whole purpose of the recording, because
yeah.
some people
Thank you. Yeah.
they know that they cannot attend, but they just want to know the information. So that's why
Yes.
I make the
Yeah.
recording.
Thank
So
you.
with that, let's get started, shall we?
Okay.
Yeah. So welcome, everyone. It is a pleasure and honor for me to be with you this evening, and thank you for being here. Welcome to the Simple Secret to Happy Parenting. And I feel so blessed that I'm seeing those you who that I've met before. So in that case, then I don't need to go into too much introduction. Just to uh, affirm to you that how I appreciate your being here. And as I was mentioning to Sᴇᴇ just now, that whenever I conduct a session or making a presentation like this, I really value your thoughts. I really value your ideas, because your ways of thinking are different from mine. And when you give me your ideas, that is something for me to learn. So that's why I really appreciate whenever that you are able to share your ideas. So let us get going. In that we are meeting here for about 60 minutes, or sometimes it goes up to 90 minutes, and at times it does go more than that, depending on the questions that you come up with. What we'll be discussing this evening is that we will be talking on what is happiness and what it is not, the signs of happiness, and the goals for happy parents, because our topic is on the simple secret to happy parenting. And I use the word simple secret because I feel that it is not something that you don't know. So it is not so much a secret in the sense that people don't know. It's just that it is something that I believe, I have the sense that people do know. However, people tend to overlook. And when you overlook, it is as if that you don't know. So that's why I call it, it's just a simple secret that I want to share. However, knowing this makes a lot of difference in your parenting, right? So just to also remind you that uh, for those of you who are familiar with me, you know that my style is to be light and humorous. So if I laugh or smile, I'm never laughing at you, but at our own silly human qualities. My purpose is to lighten things up, to reduce being serious, and to be more real. When it comes to parenting, just like almost anything else, there are pluses and minuses to it. So the plus points about parenting is that, of course, children bring us so much joy and happiness, and they delight us with the magic that they bring with them. And they also remind us of what we used to be. At the same time, there are minuses to parenting. They can be troublesome, bothersome, inconvenient. They require attention almost all the time, and there is no rest or let up for us parents. And these highs and lows that we go through cause us sometimes to feel stress, anger, fear, frustration, and we go up feeling joyful, delightful, feeling fun. And even though there are the highs and lows, what we want is to be able, at the end of the day, to be happy about parenting our children. So those are the things that we'll be discussing this evening. What I will be doing is that I will be bringing in point by point, and after each point, I will pause so that I can invite questions and comments from you. In that way, we'll have more light discussion regarding it rather than just one way over here. So before I continue on, just to welcome those of you who've just joined. Sue, welcome. Thank you for joining us, and also Siti Fu, thank you for joining us. And I hope that in today's session, you'll be able to gain something that is useful. As I mentioned earlier, I'm not sure whether you managed to get it or not, when I call it the simple secret, because it is not something that I feel that people don't know. I feel that these are some things that people do know already. It's just that it tends to be overlooked. So that's how it gets to become almost like a secret, right? So let's move on with the first point, because I entitled the presentation today as the simple secret to happy parenting. So it's about, as parents, being happy in what we do with our children, together with our children, and the things that we are achieving with our children. Now, the first secret about it, and I would say this is the most important one that people miss. This is the simple secret to parenting, that happiness is not a valid goal. We are talking about here the secret to happy parenting. So I'm just taking on that part of happiness, that happiness is not a valid goal. And if you miss this bit, then the parenting would be a chore. The parenting would not be giving you the kind of highs in your life, because happiness is not a valid goal. Happiness is the effect of achieving a goal. So when you set a goal and you achieve that goal, that is the effect. So happiness is the effect, not the goal. So that's why we need to be very clear here. So when you go into parenting, do not set happiness as a goal in parenting. And in fact, in everything that we do in life, the moment you set happiness as your goal, since it is the effect of achieving a goal, you set it as a goal. What happens is that you become like you become like people who chase after happiness is like a dog chasing after its own tail. It is a mirage, because what creates the happiness is the achievement of the goal. So if you go after happiness, that's when you will never get it. It is an ongoing frustration. You think that it's going to be happy, but it just goes beyond your reach. So you want to realize that happiness is not a valid goal. Why? Because happiness in itself is just an emotion. I deliberately use the word just. Happiness is an emotion. And it is not even a feeling. First level feeling is you feel hot, you feel itchy, you feel cold. That's feeling, that's first level. Happiness is not even a first level feeling. It is meta, it is beyond, it is meta emotion. It is second or maybe even third level. It is a meta state. So meta states come from our meanings to the goal that we set. So that's why happiness is the effect of achieving a goal. So you set a goal of having an ice cream. So when you get that ice cream, the meaning of, oh, I got what I want. That's why you feel happy eating that ice cream. Yeah. So when it comes to meta state, we need to be very clear that it is all about the meanings that we have about our goal. So parenting doesn't make you happy. Children don't make you happy. It's the meanings about parenting. It's the meanings about children that make us happy. Yeah. So that's the first point. I hope that, and this is the first point that I mentioned to you that many people overlook, because in my work, I come across very frequently. I ask people, what is it that you want? Oh, all that I want in life is to be happy. And I just go, oh yes, so what is it that you want? Being happy is your emotion, your state. You can be happy in the here and now. You can be happy right here and now. But what is it that you want out there in the physical universe? Because yes, when you get those, then that happiness will come in. It is the effect of it. So that's the first one. And the second one that's very important, and this is also where people get into that confused state in their life when they pursue happiness. We human beings have no distinction between healthy and unhealthy happiness. So that's why we need to realize that, hey, happiness is the effect of achieving a particular goal. Because when it comes to feeling happy, our body does not have any distinction between healthy and unhealthy happiness. Sadists can be very happy. When they hurt people, they feel happy. Is that healthy happiness? Mass murderers take delight in killing. Is that healthy happiness? So how do we quality control our happiness? To do that, we need to quality control our goal. So when we quality control our goals are meaningful and ecological. That's when we achieve those goals, then our happiness are healthy happiness. Okay, and happiness, as I mentioned earlier, and I am repeating it here. Happiness is the effect of achieving a goal. So that's why when we talk about quality controlling the goal so that our happiness is healthy happiness, we need to ask the question, is my goal a meaningful goal? Is my goal ecological? So when the goal that we set, is meaningful and ecological, then our feel of happiness when we achieve those goals, they are healthy happiness. So going back to the topic about being happy parents. So can we be happy parents? I will answer it unequivocally that yes, we can be happy parents. The only caveat that we need to remind ourselves, do not set happiness as a goal. You need to set something as a goal, something that is meaningful and ecological in the parenting process, because when you achieve those, then you will experience that happiness. Okay, so that's why I want to wrap up this first point about happiness. As a parent, to be a happy parent, we want to ask ourselves, what goals which are meaningful and ecological that creates happiness in your parenting. So if you want to be a happy parent, to be asking yourself, what goals in my parenting that are meaningful and ecological? So once you have meaningful and ecological goals and you achieve those goals, then you experience healthy happiness. So let me pause that and invite any questions or answers that you may have. So go ahead.
mean, to me, that is an so-called an eye opener where happiness is not the goal but the effect, and because it is an emotion kind of thing and it is meta state kind of thing. Because to me, yeah, because when I achieve the goal, we happy. So we thought that happy is that goal kind of thing. You see, yeah, it's the meaning of that goal make us happy. That's right. Yeah, thank you for the enlightenment.
Thank you, Sᴇᴇ. Yeah. So we need to be very clear about three things when we talk about going for something in our life. One is the goal. Goal is something that we decide that we want to do. That's the goal. The next thing is the outcome. So when I do something, yeah, the outcome is what I get, what I have. So for example, I have a goal to being the best lecturer in my university. Yeah. So that's my goal, to be the best lecturer in my university. And as I learn more, I practice more about lecturing, the outcome is that I become the best lecturer in the university. So that's what I achieve. And the effect of achieving that, oh, I feel so proud of myself. I feel so happy with myself for doing that. So that's the effect. Yeah. And this is where people confuse between goals and effects, because when they achieve their outcome, they feel happy, they set happiness as the goal. So that's when things go all confused in that sense. Yeah, to have that distinction. Okay, right? So anyone else?
Yeah, Mr. Mazuki, I have a question. So speaking of the goal that we set as a parent, is there any distinction that we need to make between the child's goal and our goal as a parent? And because sometimes maybe we will set goal that we want the child to achieve. So is that our goal, or we shouldn't set that kind of a goal? Yeah.
Thank you, Daniel. So I will not answer immediately because that is where I am going through with our discussion for this evening. So I will be coming to that. Yeah. So if you don't mind, hold on to that question.
Yeah. Sure. Thank you.
And I'm just picking up the question that Siti Fu has put in over here. Can you elaborate on an ecological goal? An ecological goal is when we set to do something that not only benefits us, it also brings benefit for the people who are around that particular achievement. So that's ecological. For example, let's say, let's take the example of an ice cream. Oh yeah, maybe because today is a very hot day, and my granddaughter has just mentioned that today it's the, what do we call it? The sun is directly above the equator or something.
It's called equinox. Yeah, that's why today is the equinox day. Yeah, that's why it's very hot.
Yes.
Okay, according to the Chinese lunar calendar, right? That is the equinox.
Okay.
Today is the equinox.
Yeah. So no wonder my first thought of an example is an ice cream. Yeah. So I want to eat an ice cream. Yeah. So if I were to go to the shop and buy an ice cream and eat the ice cream, I achieve my goal. Yeah. If I were to go to the shop and steal an ice cream and eat the ice cream, I still achieve my goal, but that goal is not ecological because in achieving that goal, I'm harming the shopkeeper. Yeah. So that's ecological in the sense that I look at the ecology, what I'm doing in achieving what I want, am I also serving the people around me?
Organic.
Yeah. An example that I typically somehow I've been talking it over with my granddaughter, and she has come to that same mindset, is that whenever we walk into the forest or we go to the park in KL, we have the flower garden, the orchid garden in Lake Gardens. Even though she loved the flowers so much, she has come to the point whereby she'll just enjoy the beauty of the flower by looking at it, by smelling it, but she will not pick it from the plant, because by taking it away from the plant, that is not ecological. She may get something that she loves, but she's depriving others from experiencing the beauty of the plant. So it has become second nature to her as well. So that is what when we talk about ecology. When we do something for our benefit, we also want to think about how does it impact the surrounding. Okay, so thank you, Fu, for asking that question. So shall we move on to the next point? And the next point, yes.
I think before that, I think I need to thank you again, because you make me really again crystal clear of what I'm doing. It's just like what you say, whatever I do now, I think I'm on the right track is ecologically, because I am making a living by making a difference. That's why from there I make a living out of it, kind of things. Yeah, thank you.
That's why you are mad.
Yeah, I'm mad. M-A-D.
Yeah, mad. Thank you for sharing that. Make a difference. And this is where we want to be very clear that when the difference that we make is ecological, then it's a positive difference.
Yeah.
Because we are going to make a difference anyway. As we live, as we breathe, we are making a difference. However, when the difference that we make is not ecological, like going to the shop and stealing ice cream, that's a negative difference. So that's where ecology comes in.
Yeah.
So that's why, Cik Siew, I value when you say that when you meet with the students, sharing with the students in induction, sharing about the positive of what INTI has to offer, that is doing it positively. If you were to talk bad about the other institutions, that is how people can create a negative difference. Yeah. So these are fine things. However, it brings a huge difference in what we create. Yeah. Okay, thank you. So let's move to the second point. And in this second point, I would just like to move a little bit into what is considered as the signs of happiness. Yeah? And this is where, going to the question that Daniel asked just now, I hope that this will, to some extent, answer the question that you have asked. Because when we look at the signs of happiness, there are things that we think are going to make us happy. However, actually, in reality, science has proven it that it doesn't. So this is what in the science of happiness, they call it miswanting. So as parents, we want to be very, very clear and very sensitive to this miswanting, because we as parents can also may want for our children that may not bring happiness to ourselves or even our children. These are the miswanting. Things we think will make us happy as parents, but they actually don't. So what are they? Example, we want our children to be pretty or good looking. They get good grades. We want our children to be well behaved. We want our children to respect parents. We want our children to be obedient. Do they sound nice? Do they sound ecological? Yes, they do. However, based upon science, they don't really bring us the kind of happiness that we want. So that's why I say it is a paradox. It is a paradox over here. Another thing that we may want for our children is for them to get a good job, become a lawyer or doctor or lecturer or engineer. So we want those for our children. Are they wonderful goals? Yes, absolutely wonderful goals. But they don't really make us or our children happy to some extent. So this is part of miswanting, and I hope that you'll be able to restrain your curiosity, because in a short while, I'm going to show you the signs of why this miswanting occur. Another thing that we may want for our children that will make us happy is that we want our children to be successful in their career, in their business, that they will have a lot of money in their lives, that they will have good status. Sounds fine. At the same time, they are not things that truly bring us happiness. And we want our children to achieve things in life, maybe be an Olympic athlete. Now, we don't have the Olympic athlete with us this evening.
Depends on what game. If eating, I think we have a lot.
Eating, yeah,
if eating is an Olympic game, then we have a lot here.
Okay, now as goals, there are nothing wrong, and they are absolutely they can absolutely be ecological. Yeah, it's just that that is also the part of the yes, Deirdre, go ahead, screenshot it and send it to her. It's just that many of us, me included, grow up thinking that when I achieve those things, I'm going to be very happy. However, in the science of happiness, we realize that no, those are miswantings. We don't realize the things that really make us happy, and we cannot contrast that with the things that we think will make us happy but don't. Yeah? The reason is that there are 5 features of the mind that prevents, that creates that. Yeah. The first feature of our mind is our strongest intuitions are often misleading. We have the intuition that when I get my PhD, I'm going to be happy. There's the intuition that I may have. However, frequently our strongest intuitions are misleading. So that's one feature of the mind. The other feature of the mind is we judge ourselves relative to certain reference points, which are often irrelevant and make us feel worse than we should. We don't have fixed reference points. Our reference points keep moving, and because of that, when we achieve what we wanted, we don't feel happy. For example, a person who gets into the job market, starts earning, let's say in the first year of working in a company, gets a salary of, let's say, 20,000 ringgit a year, yeah? Gets that kind of salary. And the person say, hey, my first year I get 20,000 ringgit. And then thinking that maybe, but I don't feel that my life is so happy. Maybe if I earn 24,000 ringgit, I'll be happy. Yeah, and begins to work for 24,000 ringgit and realize after a couple of years, get 24,000 ringgit and they feel not so happy because the reference points keep moving. Last time they were referencing with friends who were earning 20,000 ringgit. So that's why they say that earning 20,000 ringgit is going to make them happy. But when they earn 20,000 ringgit, they begin to reference themselves with friends who are earning 24,000 ringgit. Yeah? So that's another feature of the mind. It doesn't have a fixed reference point. The reference points keep moving. We keep shifting the goalpost. The other is our minds are programmed to adapt and ultimately get used to things. Think about ice cream. I love ice cream. Don't ask me which ice cream. As long as ice cream, I love ice cream. Probably I'll eat one ice cream. After two ice cream, I cannot eat anymore because I adapt to it. Yeah. We cannot keep, this is what we call hedonistic adaptation. We adapt to the pleasures. So we may think that, in my case, I give the example of ice cream. Coffee is another one. Yeah? When I drink coffee, it's so delicious to me. But I limit myself to one coffee. I limit myself to 2 coffees a day. Because I know if I drink more than that, then I will lose that sensation of pleasure because my body adapts to it. That's another feature of the mind. Yeah? And the fourth feature is that we don't realize how good we are at adapting and coping and mispredict how certain outcomes will make us feel. So what it is saying over here is that we, giving the example of earning 24,000 ringgit, when we compare with our friends who's earning, say, 30,000 ringgit, we say, I'm going to be happy when I earn 30,000 ringgit. And we have the expectation when I earn 30,000 ringgit, my pleasure from it on a scale of 1 to 10 is going to be 9. So that's our misprediction. It's just that when we actually achieve that, we realize, hey, it's not a 9. It's only a 7. We mispredict that. That's also what tends to happen. So as I'm saying this, I hope you can cast your mind to your past experiences to notice these things happening. And the fifth thing is that we have cognitive biases that impact our daily life. We have our biases in our life that cause us to have all of these features coming in together to cause us to think that if we are good looking or handsome, it will make us happy. If we have a good job, then it will make us happy. Or as parents, when our children get a good job and they are successful in their business, it will make us happy. So because all of those biases coming in, because all of these 5 features coming in, then what happens is that when we achieve those, we realize that we are not as happy as we thought it would be. So this is at the science of happiness. So that's why from the science of happiness, we want to know what specifically will really make us happy for the long term. So when we bring it into the parenting context, then we can set goals that will bring us lasting happiness rather than the miswanting. Okay, so from the science of happiness, this is what is called better wantings. Better wanting in the sense that these are the things that actually do make us happy. And according to the research, there are 4 areas. One is kindness. People don't realize that. A small act of kindness makes people happy. When I think about this, just a week ago, I ordered something online, a bottle of health drink. You know, this
ginger thingy.
Yes, the ginger, garlic. I ordered from this person before, and I liked it, and I ordered again.
Yeah.
I ordered 1 bottle, and 2 bottles were delivered. And I said, "Wow,
so nice."
I checked. Yeah, I ordered 1 lah, not 2. How like this? Then I thought, well, if she wants to send me 2 bottles, I'll keep it lah. I'll eat. Then I realized, Allah, under this COVID situation, maybe her business is also not so good. I don't feel right to keep the 2 bottles. Then I texted her. I said, I ordered 1, I received 2. Can you let me know how I can pay you for the extra bottle? I don't need to return, but I'll pay you for the extra bottle. And then we had that transaction. I managed to pay it. You know what? Just and her reply to me, wow, you are so kind for doing that. And I was happy for the whole week. Okay, so kindness makes us happy. Another one is social connection. To be connected with people socially. Yeah, that this evening I'm meeting Sᴇᴇᴜ, Daniel, Deirdre. Oh, Deirdre, I've not seen you for a very long time. I've been seeing Mark coming here, and then suddenly you turn up, and the rest of you I'm seeing. So this social connection, when you think about it, when you develop and maintain social connections, these are the one that makes you happy for the long term. And another one is time affluence, that you have full control of your time, that you are able to spend your time or use your time according to what you choose to do. So time affluence is another area that makes people happy for the long term. So that's why you notice when people have a lot of work to do, amongst the things that they complain is the lack of time. And notice that, yes, there are a few people who complain they have to do a lot of work. However, the complaint of doing a lot of work is less as compared to the complaint of not enough time. Yeah. And for parents, there is also an issue that they don't have enough time with their children. Yeah, the time affluence. And the fourth category, that things that actually make us happy, is mind control. To be in full control of our own mind. And if I were to paraphrase, I can't remember the exact quotation from Eliud Kipchoge. Any one of you know Eliud Kipchoge? He's the current record holder for the marathon, and he just won the gold medal in Tokyo. Now he's 2 gold medals in the marathon. What he said that a person who is not disciplined here refers to be in full control of their mind and their action, yeah, will forever be the slave to their desires. So that's why mind control here is one of the things that actually make us happy, because being able to control our mind, we have a sense of more control about our life. So these are the 4 things that actually make us happy from the science of happiness. So I'm going to pause the discussion over here. Next point that we are going to go into is the goals for happy parents. So I'm going to pause over here so that we can have a short discussion on the science of happiness. So go ahead. And I'm just going to first say hi to, say hi to Samson and Mazliana for joining us. Thank you for being here. So, any questions or comments? Just go ahead.
Yeah, because Pzoʀᴇ, I mean, thanks for the sharing, like the miss one thing and the better one thing kind of thing. That really made me have that kind of flashback in the past 10 years kind of thing when because now actually really it's not about the 3-month or 4-month bonus the company make me happy kind of thing. It's a simple word from a mother call me, Mr. Koh, my daughter is going to US 2 weeks later. Thank you very much for the advice on this kind of thing. That kind of feelings is really money cannot buy. To me, I call it, that's my moment of truth, when counseling a student, I tell them, by doing this program, 2 years later, you're going to US, that really give me a moment of truth of what I'm doing kind of thing. That's why there's those kind of feelings, you see. That's why really is the better one thing, not the bonus make me happy. It's this kind of feelings make me happy kind of thing. Yeah. Where the mother just pass by and give you buy you a few piece of stew pao to give to you kind of thing. He say thank you kind of thing. Yeah, that it's not about the stew pao, you know. It's about yeah, that kind of feeling. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Sᴇᴇ. Anyone else? Any other? If you have any questions or comments with respect to that, signs of happiness, because we are going to take all of those points into the next point, which is the goals that you want to set to be happy as a parent. So any questions?
I have a question. Earlier on, you said about the mind intuition being one of the biggest, what do you call it? Oh, so is liar. But sometimes intuition actually serves us. And it can be our biggest friend as well.
Yeah. Yes. I would agree with you. I'm not what you call saying that it is not, because intuition are a good predictor of things that are going to happen in our life. It's just that we want to be very careful about intuition, because intuition can be misleading. Yeah. For example, when it comes to let's say, when it comes to medicine, because now under the COVID situation and all that, when it comes to medicine, I totally don't want to trust my intuition because I have no skill in it. I have no competency in it. Yeah. However, when it comes to, let's say, driving, this is also I'm laughing because the tendency for, especially for guys, they tend to think that they can drive better than they actually can. Yeah. When it comes to driving, because I've attended advanced and defensive driving class, so my intuitions when it comes to the road safety, road craft, I can trust that. So in those situations, my intuitions are much more. So when we talk about intuition, you need to ask yourself, in what context? In what context? If in the context of something that you're highly skilled, then go ahead and trust your intuition, because what happened is that you have brought your knowledge and skill into your muscle memory. So that's why you act intuitively. So all of that knowledge is in your muscle. If in the area that you don't have any skill in, then in my case, I will second guess my intuition. I will look for evidences. Yeah. So I'm not saying that intuition are not important. It's just that we need to know the context. I hope I make sense over that.
Yeah, you did. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so let's move to the next point, because the first point we looked at, we talked about that happiness in itself is not a valid goal. It is the effect of a goal. So that makes goals important, because when we achieve our goals, then we feel happy. It's just that goals, happiness in itself can be healthy or unhealthy. So that's why the goals that we set are critical. And in the second point, we talk about the signs of happiness. We also want to be very clear about how we set our goals, because setting the wrong goals, we achieve those goals, we feel happy. However, those goals will not be, that happiness will not be lasting, because we have set goals out of miswanting rather than setting the goals that truly make us happy. So when we move into this next point on the goals for happy parents, we need to realize that in life, in parenting, there are so many wonderful goals to choose from. For example, Danielle, you have two wonderful girls, and you can set so many goals for them. You can get them into ballet classes, you can get them into gymnastics, you can get them into swimming, so many things. The question is, how do you choose the right goals for them? And how do you choose the right goals for parenting? Yeah. So this is where I just want you to take a deep breath and take this truism in first. Yeah. Because when we talk about goals, the metaphor that I'm using are all of those flowers. Those are all the goals in life. And all of those flowers, all of those goals are wonderful and beautiful in and by themselves. So which flower do we pick? Which one do we choose? So that's the question that we are going to answer in this point. So the first truism that I want you to take in a deep breath and allow that to sink in is that parenting is not about you. It is through you. It is about the child. So choose goals about the child, not to choose goals that you like, you want. Some parents, because I want my child to be a lawyer, it's their goal, imposing on the child. So once you realize that it is about the child, as parents, our job, we have only one job to do, that is to help our child actualize their best self. So that's the goal. So once we realize that, then it makes it easier for us to choose from. So now that we know that actualizing our child is the goal, because it is not about us, it is about our child, then we know which of those flowers to pick from. Yeah? So instead of gymnastics, ballet, or swimming, knowing the child, then you realize that, okay, for this child, it's gymnastics. Then for my second one, it's ballet. Because when we talk about actualizing the child, we are talking about actualizing them in 4 different areas. So when we talk about goals for happy parents, so that's where your child is right now. And you are setting goals for your child to be the best person that he or she can be. And what we are going to set are goals of actualizing the child. And there are 4 categories that we need to focus on when we set the goals. What are they? One is in the area of vitality. Area of vitality meaning to say they want to have clean energy to propel them to do something. So when we talk about clean energy, so that makes the decision for you much easier. Instead of giving junk food to your child, you give organic food to your child, because organic food will help in the child's vitality. So that's one area. Another area is in the area of potential. So this is why, as parent, so Danielle, for example, you've got 2 beautiful girls. So you need to see the elder girl. Okay, she is like this. So these are her unique potentials. Oh, my younger one, she is like this. So she has different unique potentials. So that's how, as parents, we don't treat our children equally. We treat them differently, individually, because that is the just thing to do. Just because the elder one goes for ballet, you force the younger one to go to ballet. In fact, the younger ones wants to do ultra marathon. So that's a different ball game altogether. Okay. The third category is in the category of creativity. Creativity is what can I do with my child to help my child to be creative in their lives. So that is why when I remember when my youngest daughter, Sophia, when she was about, I think she was about 4 or 5 years old, and every time when we have dinner, there was one time she took her glass of water, then she mixed some syrup inside there. Then she tasted, oh nice. Then she took some soy sauce and then put some tomato sauce. We don't stop her from doing it because she's just experimenting. Okay, I mean, afterwards the drink will not be drinkable anymore, but if we would stop her from doing it, we are preventing her from expressing her creativity.
Yeah? It might be a new cocktail.
Yeah, but pity the elder sister lah, because after she does all that, she drink, doesn't taste so nice. She asks the elder sister to drink. Yeah. So understanding that the child needs to create things will give us the acceptance when they do something that for you, why I do like this cannot make sense. But you begin to look at it from the child's creativity. So there was this situation whereby I mentioned to you my eldest granddaughter, Grasshopper. She literally in the first 5 years of her life, she grew up in our office because my daughter was working with us. So I said to my daughter, when you come to work, you bring your daughter, let her grow up in the office. Don't send her to childcare or whatsoever. So one day, my wife Rosita came into the room where they're at, noticed the scribble on the wall. Okay, and her first thought was, "Oh no, this is the office wall with all that." And here comes Grasshopper saying, "Mommy, do you like my drawing? It's a whale." So, in order to not subdue her creativity, so we have to use our creativity to see how does it look like a whale. But we say, "Oh wow, there's a nice drawing of a whale." So it is not about you. It is about actualizing the creativity in the child. And the fourth area is in unleashing the leadership in a child. And in the context of a child, that relates to the social skills that the child has in order to meet with people. So that's why if you've attended one of my sessions on parenting before, I talk about exposing the child in a safe way to lots and lots of people so that they know how to communicate and relate with many different people. So this is where you put out there as your big goal for your child, because parenting is not about you. It is about actualizing the best in the child in the 4 areas of vitality, potential, creativity, and leadership. So it's there, out there. Now, this is where the trick is. Many people, they set what we call outcomes. They set the KPI out there. These are, in performance management speak, we call them we call them the lag KPIs. These are what we can measure at the end. The mistake most people make is they don't measure the lead KPI, the behavioral ones. So the key to being happy as a parent, knowing that your job is to actualize the best in the child, you want to set behavioral goals on a daily basis. Because these behavioral goals, when they meet the criteria of better wanting, you will experience the happiness on a daily basis. So what are the behavioral goals? Acts of kindness. So to interact with your child out of kindness. So your 3-year-old wants to help you to put the glass away after you wash it. So picks the glass from you, wanting to put it where you need to put, and the glass slips from her hand and smashes on the floor. Deal with the child out of kindness. So that's act of kindness. Yeah. And build connection. That's another one. It's all about the relationship. Build the connection. So in the context of the example of Sophia mixing everything in that drink. So instead of criticizing her for doing something that is not useful, to be able to connect with her. Okay, so what is it that you intend? I'm just doing experiments over here. When I grow up, I want to be a scientist. Oh, you want to be a scientist? And as a scientist, what you would... So getting into that conversation, building that connection. The outcome of what they did is secondary to the connection that you build with your child. The third one is to be present, fully present. And this is something that I want to urge you, because we live in an age where many of us are so disconnected from the people around us because of the smartphone. The extent that the children don't even know that you're there. So to just get rid of it, be fully present. When the child comes to you, mommy, 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 my finger hurts. Be present. Oh, how does that hurt? Let me see. Is it bleeding? Oh, it's not bleeding. Oh, you're lucky it's not bleeding. Be there fully and completely present. And the fourth one is to be there, not just present bodily, in terms of your state, your mental and emotional state. With your child, be there with love and joy. So these are the behavioral goals. So when you set these behavioral goals on a daily basis, you are experiencing the effect that is being happy. When you do something kind to your child, making the child breakfast, then you are happy because you have acted kindly to your child. When your child wants your time to sit down with you to help with the drawing, you are there fully and completely. It's not about the drawing. It's not about the quality of the drawing, but your being there, building that your connection with the child, that gives you that happiness and joy. Okay, so if I were to give another visual analogy of this whole screen that I'm giving to you, I'd like to give you another. Okay, so before that, so when we do all of these things, acts of kindness, build connection, present, state management, those are our daily goals. And when we achieve those daily goals, the effect will be healthy happiness. Why healthy happiness? Because those are the behaviors that truly bring us happiness. Another way of looking at it is like this. Remember this screen that I showed earlier, better wanting? So there were 4 things with respect to better wanting, things that actually make us happy. They are kindness, social connection, time affluence, and mind control. So these are the 4 things. So bringing the better wanting into the context of parenting. So parenting is not about us, it's about the child. So the frame that we put around it in order to create goals to become happy parents. So we put around it the frame of actualizing the child. So putting on the frame of actualizing the child, what are the frames that we put there? Actualizing vitality of the child, actualizing the potential of the child, actualizing the creativity of the child, actualizing the leadership or social capability of the child. So when we set those frames as long-term goals for our children, what happens is that the daily behaviors, the behavioral goals, the daily habits that we build for our children are acts of kindness, build connection, presence, and state management. So what we are doing is we are transposing the map of better wanting into behavioral goals that we have for our children. So in that way, every day is a joyful and happy day for you, because at the end of it, we want to remember that in our life, there are things that we can control and there are things that are outside of our control. So acts of kindness are within our control. Building connection is within our control. Being present with our child is within our control. Managing our mental and emotional states are within our control. When we measure our performance based upon what's within our control, we know that we have done them. And that creates the effect of us being happy that we have done this. Now we drive our children and ourselves crazy when we begin to measure what's outside of our control. Yeah? No matter how kind we are with our children, there are times they will not listen to us. They will do different things. So if we measure our performance based upon the performance of our children, we'll drive ourselves and themselves crazy, because their performance is their power. We are trying to control their powers. So let go of that control, let them control their power, and we focus on the power that we have to control. Use our saying and doing in these 4 ways: acting with kindness, building connection, being present fully and completely with the child, and being in the best state of love and joy with your children. So this, to me, is the simple secret to healthy and happy parenting. Take charge, take ownership of your powers, and let your children take ownership of their powers. Because once they take ownership of their powers of thinking, feeling, saying, and doing, they are actualizing the best that they can do. So no matter how our children turn out, that is their responsibility, that is their prerogative, that is their right. Focus on being kind, on building connection, on being present, on managing the state. When you do those on a daily basis, that's the key to being a happy parent on a daily basis. Okay, so let me just stop there and invite each and every one of you, if you have any questions or comments, so just go ahead. I notice Shahira has just joined us. Welcome, Shahira, to this session together. So any questions or comments?
Hello? Okay.
Yes. Is that Samson?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I just want to make a comment like when it comes to being a father or as parents, you prioritize for your children or for your child based on what you feel will give him a better chance in future, not knowing that maybe you're doing some kind of harm because within the child, I think he has some inbuilt knowledge within him that we need to encourage. But seeing from what we discussed today, I think it will be better to come close to them to really understand who they are and what they really want to become. I just want to share an experience. I have my last born. When he was growing up, I never knew he's a leftist. He used his left hand in school. Whenever he go to school, they would just give him the pen to write with his right hand. And it has been consistent. And there was this complaint from the teacher, but it took us time to really get to know that he used his left hand to write, which for him, he was like terrified. He was under pressure, but he could not communicate easily. It took us time to really understand that. That is just my observation. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Samson, you've just highlighted the fact that our children are different. They operate differently. So when we look at our role as parents to actualize the best in the child, then now we are looking through their eyes. So if the child picks up the pen using the left hand, so teach the child to write properly using the left hand. And the child picks the pen with the right hand, teach the child from that. So there are no wrong in that sense. It is according to the potential. So we talk about actualizing a person from the four, I'll use the word categories. One is vitality. Second is potential. So to understand what we come into this world full of potentials, and all our potentials are different. So to be able to operate from there, what is my first child's potential? My second child have totally different potential. So to not make a blanket judgment from that. Yeah. Thank you, Samson. Yes. Any other comments? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Daniel.
Yes, I just want to share my recent conversation with my younger one. Sometimes I think as parents, sometimes we have the miswanting. So I'm glad that I've learned that today. And it is in turn that children teach us things. Yeah. So the recent conversation that I had with my younger daughter, they just completed their progress evaluation at school. So we were talking about the results, and she shared with me her result in I think mathematics. So we have been working hard to actually with the revision, and she wants to improve the mathematics as well. And when I asked her about, so what score do you get? And she told me she got 7 wrong out of 30 questions. So I said, 7? We revised so hard, you still get 7? And then she replied me, only 7, mommy, I'm happy with that, only 7. Then it struck me immediately. Said, yes, that's right. Yeah, so sometimes I just feel so wonderful how our kids teach us, because sometimes we forget how to, how our role in the way, in the journey to actualize them is, like you say, it's not about us, it's about them. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Daniel.
Maybe add on to Daniel's point. It's just like that's why this also make me think of, we always focus on what we lost, not what we have. You see, instead of like 7 wrong, instead we should think we've got 23 correct kind of things. Yeah, that's why we always forget to count the blessing, but of course always focus on what we lost kind of things. You see, yeah. like the silver medalist mindset kind of thing. Because now there's a saying, because after Olympic, a lot of message like flying over the internet, all this kind of thing, talk about this silver medalist. Actually, the bronze medalist is happier than the silver medalist kind of thing. Yeah, because the silver medalist won the silver medal by losing a game, but the bronze medalist winning that medal by winning a game kind of thing. That's why it's a mixed kind of feeling.
Yeah, thank you, Cik Shu. So and that example that you gave is also part of when we talk about the feature of our mind. Our reference point is always changing. Yeah, so that's why if you see standing on the podium, the one who is looks happy, the gold medalist and the bronze medalist. The silver medalist is thinking, I could have gotten gold. I only got silver. The gold medalist, of course, happy because he won. But the bronze medalist, I got a medal.
Yeah. I'm on the podium.
On the podium. Yeah, and interesting when Daniel mentioned that. So this is where, as parents, we need to come in and build that connection. So things like when the child comes to you, I got 7 wrong out of 30 questions. So going in from the meta program of perceiving, so you got 7 wrong out of 30 questions. So you have 23 right. So how do you feel about that? So instead of bringing in our evaluation about it, we elicit their reaction towards it. So if your child said, only 7 wrong, I got 23 right. So you just go with it. Oh, that's wonderful. However, another child will say, oh, I studied so hard, I still got those 7 wrong. So that's when you want to be able to align with that particular situation as well. So that is where building that connection makes a lot of sense in situation. And I remember from my old school days, we have this drawing. A friend of ours, they make a cartoon drawing after the MCE. For those of you who don't know what MCE is, nowadays people call it SPM. My time, the government call it MCE. That's English, how old I am. Yeah,
that's the English,
Malaysian Certificate of Education. Yeah, so a friend of mine drew a cartoon. This one, girls' school, and this girl crying. I didn't get 9A1. I got 2A2. So she got 9 A's but 2A2. And then on the other side, cartoon of a guy jumping for joy. Yay, I passed. He got 3rd grade.
Those days, pangkat 3.
Pangkat 3. So, with our children as well, the child who is running the perfectionist meta program will be unhappy with the 9 wrong. However, if the child is running the optimizing meta program, 7 wrong, will be happy with the 7 wrong because she's got the 23 right. So as parents going in, building that connection, understanding their emotional reactions, and to support them. And to support them at whatever emotional reaction that they are experiencing. Okay, thank you, Daniel. Anyone else?
Dr. Marzuki, just now when you mentioned this one, really, I have a Kesa Berna kind of things, where I counseled a girl student before. Because of course, normally before we start, I will ask the result. Because no point I continue for 2 hours, but when she failed her BM, which dapat sikit kind of things, you see. So when I ask for results, she's like feel like so shameful kind of things, My result not good. Not very good. Then not very good is how not very good or how bad is this kind of thing can you just show? Because you bring that slip, but she dare not show, Then I said, then maybe can you show a kind of thing? Then when she showed me the result, I think of giving her a big thigh slap on the face, because it's 9A2B. Result not good. 9A2B is called not good result kind of thing. That's the thing.
Yeah. Right. Thank you. So let me just put on the final slide to summarize what we have discuss today. Probably the first one that I want to put in as a summary here. Oops, yeah. Is the first thing that I came up with is that happiness is not a goal. It is the effect of achieving a goal. So to be happy parents, what we want to not do is to set happiness as our goal, because that will put us into like a dog chasing its own tail. So what we want to do is to be able to set goals that are meaningful and ecological on a daily basis, because that will create the achievement of the goals and that will have the effect of being happy for ourselves. So that's the first one. The second one is that parenting is about actualizing our child. It is not about our own satisfaction, our own joy or whatsoever. It is about actualizing the child. And when we talk about actualizing the child in 4 specific areas, because this will bring them up the hierarchy of needs into self-actualization, in the area of vitality, in the area of potential, in the area of creativity, and also in the area of leadership or social. So we want to actualize our children in these 4 areas. And probably the third point that I would just like to make as a summary for this evening is that focus on the daily behavioral goals to create daily happiness. Because if we don't focus on the daily behavioral goals, we just focus on the end goal, you have to wait for 20 years before you reach the end goal. And one time in 20 years, you become happy. The rest of the time, what happened? Yeah. So you create those daily behavioral goals. So when you ask yourself, oh, I was kind to my child today, that has the effect of making you feel happy. Oh, I spent time with my child, and in spending that time, I was building the connection with my child. So these are the behavioral goals that will give us lasting happiness rather than short term. And then to be focused on the right states in dealing with our child. So those are the daily behavioral goals. So when we set those goals daily and we are achieving those goals daily, that has the effect of us being happy as a parent. Yeah. And actualizing our children at the same time. Okay. So those are the 3 things that I would just like to share with you as a summary for our evening. And what I would like to do is, coming to the end of the session, I would like to open up the session to each and every one of you. Let me hear your thoughts. Let me hear what ideas that you have. If you don't mind, I will just go through one by one. If you are able to unmute your mic and let me have your thoughts, I would really appreciate that. I would like to begin with the very bottom of my screen. Shahira, is it okay for you to say something, or allow us to have your comments? No? Okay, let me move on to Mazliana. Go ahead. Mazliana, are you there? No? I'll move on to Samson. Go ahead, Samson.
No? Thank you very much for an elaborate explanation on the topic today. For me, I took interest in better wanting, things that actually makes us happy. And I know you talk about mind control. You also talk about love and kindness and social connection that help us to really understand who we are and what we should know about ourselves. I also understand that time affluence also help.
Oh, I've lost your audio, Samson.
Maybe it's internet connection.
Within family members and friends, it's very important, and I really appreciate the discussion today. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Samson. Thank you. Appreciate your points. And moving on to Sue. Go ahead, Sue.
Yeah, it was insightful thing, and it's a good reminder actually, not just for parenting but for general our outlook in life. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And over to you, Deirdre.
Hi, Mr. Mazuki. So, thank you for highlighting the obvious, which is that happiness is an emotion. You know, we forget it. We always say, oh, we just want to be happy in life. So that it's an emotion, and then we need to create those tangible goals in order to reach there. Yeah. So that's very practical advice. Also for highlighting that, you know, as parents, we are the guardians and we are the leaders for these little children to guide them. And if our happiness is their happiness, then we really should actualize them. It's not about us, you know, letting go. That's a hard thing to do, but that's very important. And also the last part, which is to focus on daily behavioral goals. You know, every little step goes a long way, and it all starts with all these little habits, and hopefully at the end everyone will achieve what their goal is. Thank you.
Thank you. Get that. Right. Deirdre mentioned about daily goals, daily habits. What I took out from this evening's session is the habits of happiness. Two things that will contribute as habits of happiness. One is savoring. Savoring, you know, just like when you have your breakfast, even though it's just a slice of bread with butter and kaya, you bite it, you savor it. So with your children, when they are Max, how old is Max? Deirdre?
Max is turning 6.
Turning 6.
Yeah.
And he may have this quirky way of doing something that typically frustrates you. You just savor that moment. Just notice that he's doing that. Savoring. That's one habit that you can bring in. The other is the habit of gratitude.
Good night. Good night, Charlotte. It's Charlotte.
Savor that moment when Michelle comes to you and say, good night.
Yes.
Yeah. Because there will come a time when she'll not be saying that. Yeah, in my case, this is what, September. In November, my youngest daughter will be getting married.
Oh, congratulations.
So I'm saying it from that perspective. Yeah. So savoring and gratitude, just to be grateful for the small things. From the 4 categories I mentioned earlier, to savor and to be grateful. That will increase that sense of happiness. Thank you, Deirdre. And moving on to Sᴇᴇ. Go ahead, Sᴇᴇ.
After this session, actually, I only realized how bad am I as a father, because I have done nothing, none of what you have said just now, the whole session kind of thing to my son. Since I think born until now kind of thing. However, I have done this to many people, many of other people's sons when they come to the college to ask for inquiry kind of thing. But all of this, I actually, yeah, frankly speaking, is a confess or whatsoever it is. Actually, I have done none of that to myself. That made me really, you know, it's a punch on my face. Wake up! I did do all that kind of things. Yeah. That really made me, yeah, it's an enlightenment to me today. Yeah, great. Thank you.
I congratulate you for your awareness, because from that awareness, my prayer is that you'll be able to do wonderful things, making a difference in your son's life. Thank you, Sᴇᴇ, for sharing that. And over to you, Danielle. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mazuki, for tonight's sharing. I like the way you put it. You say it's a simple secret. Indeed, it's simple, but I tend to forget these simple things in life. And also you said that it's a daily behavior. I totally agree with what Deirdre has said, that little things in every day that we do goes a long way. So it's a good reminder. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And we've come to the end of the session. And James, you've just joined us. I'm sorry you've joined us at the end of the session. Yeah. And where are you coming from?
Hi, Mr. Mazuki. I'm from Shalam.
Okay. So we are at the end of the session. You've missed it. However, what I'll do is I'm recording the session. I'll send the link of the recording if you would like to have a look and hear it. Yeah. However, I appreciate your being here. And so to everyone else, Shahira, Samson, Mazliana, Sue, Deirdre, Sᴇᴅ, and Daniel, I really appreciate your being here with me this evening. And I look forward to seeing you again in any of our sessions. So with that, everyone, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you and good night and take care. Keep safe.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Hi.
Deirdre, please
Yes.
convey my regards to Mark.
I will. He'll be walking home anytime soon.
Okay. Right. Okay. Good night, everyone.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Bye.
Thank you. Good night.